Hi, everyone. How's everyone doing? Start in a couple of minutes. Feel free to start asking questions in the chat. Anyone have questions? So something I can briefly cover is outreach. A lot of people don't seem to, I would say, have the right expectations when it comes to how much outreach it actually takes. Like I know some of you have been seeing in my newsletter that I've been getting a few charging opportunities and sharing them, and people have been landing those charging opportunities. But what a lot of you don't see is that getting those charging opportunities, even getting connected with those people, took 100 to 200 messages. So that is something you're going to have to do regularly if you really want outreach to pan out for you as a way to land opportunities. It's just something that it's not something you can just like get. Like you can't. I mean, I'm sure there are some of you out there who have only sent like 2 messages and automatically got judging opportunities. If that is you, that's great. But at least based on my experiences, that is not really how outreach works. It's really just sending a bunch of messages and sending them over and over again to different people who are involved in the kinds of activities you want to be doing, and then just doing a lot of that over and over again until you get to a point where you're getting noticed by some of these people and then getting opportunities simply by reaching out to them and then describing your expertise and then showing how your expertise can help with a particular opportunity. But it just takes like a lot of messages, and it's not something that takes like 2 weeks to pan out. Like it could, but I'm not saying it will take 2 weeks. Like even now I'm doing outreach pretty regularly. I send a bunch of messages every day to different kinds of people, and that is just what it takes to land opportunities through outreach. So this is just to set the expectation for how outreach actually works. You can also go to, and I think this is actually a better way to do outreach. A better way to do outreach is to just go to in-person events and talk to people there. That is something that is always a great way to land opportunities. You don't have to be a speaker at the event. You don't have to be some sort of judge at the event. You don't have to have any sort of role except just being an attendee. And that can be a way to find opportunities because you never know who you'll meet. And you can also talk to the organizers of the event to ask if you can get involved in any opportunities that are coming up. Something I also recently did was I spoke to an event organizer and asked if they could restructure some of their events to include judges. So that is something you can also do as well. You can also, you can also just go and ask if you can be a judge at some upcoming event, even if they have no judging spots. Ask if maybe they can host like a different variation of the event. because there's definitely work to be judged. That's one way to get an opportunity that was probably not even there to begin with. That is something I did recently for an event. And it is an approach that can work, assuming you have the right expertise, assuming you have expertise that people want for events. And for those of you in AI, that is definitely the case because of just the sheer number of AI events that are going on all the time. But outside of that, yeah, you can just do that. And that's really how outreach works. It's about reaching the right people, showing that you are an expert that can contribute in some way, and then, yeah, seeing if you can help in some way through some sort of official role. Anyone have questions? Anyone have questions? Something else you can also do for profile building is reach out to leadership within professional organizations. So something I regularly do is I reach out to IEEE section chairs, because the most common question I get is how to get involved in IEEE, or what do I do next? I'm a senior member. So I've just been reaching out to a lot of different IEEE chapter leaders and then asking them if they can do insight sessions within my newsletter. That is something else that you can personally do. You can just reach out to these people, especially to the local chapter leaders within your particular region. That is definitely something you can do to start getting noticed for some opportunities that are within your particular region. I can also briefly go through my newsletter resources. So as part of my paid newsletter, you will get access to my profile building opportunities database, which currently lists over 400 opportunities for many different fields. These are just examples of starting points that you can look at as a way to learn about how to get involved in your field and how to join those professional development activities that will help you start landing more prestigious opportunities that can count towards your EB-1A profile, or can help with your EB-2NW profile or O1 profile. So these are just some opportunities broken down by field and criteria. I also have a bunch of video resources, and I'm constantly adding to these resources. I am hosting more workshops with people who are involved in, say, IEEE, and are open to sharing their insights on how they got involved and how they took on leadership positions. So here's one from last week, which was a Q&A session with the chair of the IEEE Central Texas section. So he talks about how to get more involved in IEEE, how to find review opportunities. I also have a bunch of, looks like stuff sharing. I also have a bunch of opportunities opportunities. I also have a bunch of videos. These are recorded conversations with EB-1A recipients where I ask questions that people ask me all the time, like how to present a strong leading or critical role claim, how to claim original contributions, how to claim high salary. These are questions that I've covered in these recorded conversations that you can also access as part of my newsletter. You also get access to my private group, which is where profile builders have been able to find collaborators on profile building in general, have been able to find opportunities shared by other members, and have also been able to find co-authors for papers. That is something that's really common actually within my private group. People are regularly sharing just collaboration requests and asking for co-authors for papers, for book chapters. And you can find all these resources through my paid newsletter, which is linked on screen right now. That's all. Anyone else have questions? Anyone have questions? All right, if no one has questions, thanks everyone for joining. I can take a couple of questions if anyone has any in the chat. All right, thanks everyone for joining.